Hello, my name is Claire Landesman. I am General Secretary of FO, and it is my pleasure to introduce Andrew Thomas, the Chairman of International Association of the Hearing Accessibility, and Lydia Best, President of FO. The theme today is assistive listening devices or technology. Let me start with a quick question. What are assisted listening technologies? Lydia, can you give a short definition?
Thank you. For people who have a hearing loss or are deaf and use the technologies or assistive technologies, listening technologies, it means that we are able to get the direct sound from whatever event public services are and to be able to listen to the sound, to the speakers, without any disruptions and background noise. And this is mostly for the people who have hearing devices, such as enabled by hearing telecoils or potentially Cobra-Cast.
Andrew, can you add to that?
Sure. Assistive listening systems and technologies, I think, are, as Lydia has said, primarily for areas where there's a lot of background noise, in large venues, for example, and they can be for theatres, they could be for bank counters. There's a whole range of areas where these systems are used. So they're very, very useful for people with hearing loss that have the devices that can access them.
Yeah. Thank you. And what are the pros and cons of the current solutions? Andrew?
Well, the most widely used technology, I think, is hearing loops. The full name is AFILs, which is audio frequency induction loops. That's the term that's in the standards, I think. So hearing loops are basically a technology that has been around for some time. It's well established. There are a global network of hearing loops already in situ. They are operated by a wire being ran around a particular area. So, as I mentioned earlier, in a theatre, for example, the wire would run around an area of the theatre or a church. And that wire sends out a magnetic field, which is picked up by a device called a telecoil, which is provided in the hearing aid. The telecoil has to be set up by an audiologist, and that can differ from country to country how that device gets, that telecoil gets in the hearing aid. Not all hearing aids have them, but hearing loops are the most widely used technology at the moment. So there's other technologies such as infrared. They're used in particular applications, and RF, radio frequency, is another technology. And obviously, as Lydia's already mentioned, there's another technology coming down the line, which is Auracast.
And Lydia, do you want to add to that?
Yes, in terms of the pros and cons of the solutions, it definitely, one of the cons of the solutions, to start with the bad news, is that the audiologist needs to set up the actual system with the theatre. And what we, as the European Federation of Hard of Hearing People, are coming across is that sometimes, unfortunately, audiologists are not proactive enough to inform the users of the devices that what kind of technology access is possible. The benefit is that you really have the access to sound without the disruptions and without the distractions of the background noise. So that is very important.
That sounds very interesting. Andrew, the hot topic nowadays is our Auracast system. Is this a game changer for persons with hearing loss?
I think it could be over time. It's a new technology that's come along, and it's part of the Bluetooth family. So it's not the same as the classic Bluetooth that we use widely in our daily lives. This is an offshoot of the Bluetooth technology, which is not compatible with the classic Bluetooth. So there is a little bit of confusion, I think, between Auracast and Bluetooth. So there's a job of work to be done there. The technology has already started to be implemented and put out into the marketplace, although in quite managed applications. The beauty of Auracast, I think, is the fact that anyone with an Auracast-enabled device, whether that be someone wearing a hearing aid or someone with earbuds or headphones that are Auracast-enabled, could get a benefit from the technology. And thinking back of when I first heard about it, I believe that would be a really big step forward for people with hearing loss, because there'd be more people using the technology and therefore less of a stigma, I think, for people wearing hearing aids, which can only be a good thing. So there's a long way to go, I think, before Auracast becomes the real dominant, if it ever does, technology in the world of assistive listening technologies. But I think it's certainly creating a lot of interest from the experience I've had of it so far. There's a number of challenges that it needs to go through about connectivity, and the fact it's gone out into the marketplace now. Some of these issues are being raised by the fact it's starting to be used. So, you know, over time it will be interesting to see how it develops, and it's going to be really important, I think. And you know, maybe the theme of what we talked through this discussion is it's about coexisting with existing technologies. This isn't about Auracast or loops. It's about providing access to the people that need assistive listening with the technology that works for them. So if there's a hearing loop in a venue, if there's a hearing loop in a particular application, then it's about adding Auracast to it and not replacing the existing technology with a new one. And that will take time, you know, and that will take several years.
So who else can benefit from that, actually?
Well, I think the whole technology of Auracast is going to open up a real whole new world of audio experience. So the technology itself is about audio sharing. It's not come out as an assistive listening system as technology as such. So the fact that someone could be watching a film on their iPad or on the TV at home, and every member of the family could be listening to it on, as I say, their Auracast-enabled devices, I think will be a real step forward in the whole audio world. And I think there are other applications for it that we haven't even thought of yet. It's just something that's going to develop all the time. It's out in the market. There's new ideas coming along. Manufacturers are making new products that aren't necessarily involved with assistive listening. But it's certainly an exciting time to be around in the industry. So with the existing technologies, having Auracast coming along the line, along side by side with the existing stuff, it's going to be really good, I think, for everyone to use the technology. But as I said earlier, it's going to take some time.
That's great. Lydia, what can you say about the hard of hearing community embracing this new innovation?
Well, hard of hearing people have always been interested in innovation and what else is able to provide us the access we need. And to have a more instant access, such as Auracast is promising, it's great. And it can be also used for the captioning as well, the provision. So there is many different ways of how we can use it. The biggest thing about Auracast to me is that it's going to be mainstream. But it doesn't matter if you have a hearing device or not, as the person with hearing loss, anybody else will be also able to use this kind of device and the access. But the only thing is that our worry and our campaign, which was launched last year, is about making sure that we do not throw away what already is available to us. So the situation is that many hard of hearing people are complaining that they don't have a choice, and often they are given only the hearing aid with the Auracast in it, but the telecoil is missing in there. Now, the issue is currently, which Andrew already touched on, is the Auracast is just starting. whereas the hearing loops are existing in many, many places already, over 40 years or so of installing them. So we can have a paradoxical situation that there will be people who have the newest hearing aids or cochlear implants with the Auracast as the feature in it, no telecoil. They will come to the event, such as here, it at Zero project, and they will find that they are actually not able to be connecting to the sound in the same way as we can now with our telecoils. I'm using the neck loop, which is provided here. I can add it to the audio devices we have in this building, and I can actually hear perfectly well. But someone with Auracast will not be able to do it. And that is the problem. We need the coexistence of those two features for the time being to make sure that everybody can benefit and no one is left behind.
So, I mean, that's basically our concluding statement, is that hearing loop and Auracast need to coexist for a longer time period to benefit all users. And I think, do we have anything more that you would like to say about this topic?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things just to add in terms of what we've just spoken about and the time it could take. I mean, there are existing standards that are in place, not just about the level of performance for these, existing technologies, but I think there's also standards that are in place for accessible building, how to get into a building and listen to the various technologies. There's UK ones, there's European ones, there's American ones, and I'm sure other places around the globe. Standards are going to take time to be adapted to include Auracast, and that doesn't happen overnight. So I think there's a number of different stakeholders and different reasons why it will take time, and it will need, as we've both mentioned, about coexisting. So I think the theme from this talk today is about coexisting with existing technologies, and hopefully it will become the technology that we'll all benefit from.
Yeah, to add to it, I think, as we all know, it doesn't matter what technology we are looking at. When the new technology is coming along, it takes time for adoption. But it's also the same thing with the Auracast, and the same thing for the user adoption of the technology. People are used to the things they are using, and it takes time to change that behavior too. And that's why this coexistence is so important. It really needs to happen. Otherwise, we do risk having people left behind.
And I also think the benefit is the financial aspect. We can't require everyone to buy the newest technology when they are on a budget or they have to depend on government subsidies to be able to get the technology. So yes, coexistence is extremely important. Now, I think that's we can finalize this. If there are any questions, please come up to us anytime, and we'll be happy to answer more. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.